My HOA will put a big yellow warning on your car if your tag is just 1 day late. And honestly, that's nothing compared to what some homeowners in Florida are facing. Imagine this: you buy your dream home, move in, everything feels good, and then you get a letter that your grass is too brown. Few weeks later, you're either sitting in jail or facing foreclosure. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it happened right here in Florida. What started small became a nightmare for homeowners. Before we dive in, quick disclaimer: I'm not an attorney, I'm a realtor. So this is not legal advice. But these stories are so shocking, every homeowner needs to hear them. Because if it can happen to them, it can happen to anyone. At the end of this video, you'll know exactly what went down in these cases and why HOA holds so much power. And what you can do to protect yourself if you live in an HOA or just thinking about buying in one. Let's start with the wildest one: jail time over grass. Yes, you heard that right. A Florida homeowner actually spent 7 days in jail after what began as a simple HOA complaint.
Or like pictures of the brown grass.
Yep.
The grass isn't always green in Irina Green's yard, thanks to a big tree that you can see in this drone video, and a drought that led the county to impose watering restrictions last year didn't help.
Looks like you got some pieces of sod here.
Green says her yard is far from the worst in Riverview's Creekview subdivision.
If you drive around my neighborhood, you'll see there's plenty of yards that are not up to par.
But so far, she's the only homeowner to actually go to jail for failing to keep her yard up to her HOA standards.
It wasn't just the grass. The HOA also added that she had a dent in her garage, a dirty mailbox, and a van in her driveway. Small things most of us wouldn't think twice about. But it escalated into a lawsuit.
It all started with notices from the HOA's management company.
And it went from the grass being brown to, there's a dent in my garage.
Dents too small to see from the road.
That was a part of my court case.
Green was also cited for having a dirty mailbox covered in mildew due to shade and moisture from that same tree.
I would assume you could probably clean that whole mailbox in a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
And for having a cargo van similar to other ones we observed in the neighborhood. The HOA filed a lawsuit against Green in Hillsborough County Court, demanding she correct the violations. She represented herself, preparing handwritten explanations that the HOA and judge rejected. Green appeared at a hearing last July in which the judge gave her an ultimatum.
A judge literally told her, fix everything in 30 days or you're going to jail. She did correct them, but then she missed her court date because she didn't get a notice in the mail of when the court date was supposed to be.
My grass had to be brung up to par. He said, you can get seeds, you can do something, but you got 30 days to get it corrected. I said, fine. And he said, and if it's not done in 30 days, you're going to go to jail.
Irene says she spent the next month correcting the violations.
I sold my van to comply. My mailbox was clean. I bought seeds and watered my grass.
But she missed her next court date.
I was supposed to receive documentation. Nothing was sent to my home. And I reached out to the courthouse several times to try to find out when was my court date.
The judge signed an order holding Green in contempt of court and issued a warrant for her arrest at the HOA attorney's request.
It is pretty extreme.
Pulled over by a sheriff's deputy in late May after picking up her 15-year-old daughter from cheerleading practice.
When I got out, he said, Ms. Green, do you know that you have a warrant for your arrest?
She was taken to the Orient Road jail.
If they got you handcuffed behind your back?
Yes, I'm treated like a criminal.
At the jail, she got more bad news.
There was no bond, so I couldn't even go home to my family. I sat in there for 7 days. 7 days in the jailhouse, like a criminal.
And just like that, she's arrested, treated like a criminal, and spends 7 days in jail without bond, all over simple HOA violations. For something this small to end in jail time, that feels very extreme. But here's the reality: HOAs have more power than most people realize. When you move into one of these communities, you are agreeing to their rules. If you don't follow them, they can fine you. If you don't pay, they tack on late fees and attorney costs, which can turn into a lien, and if it keeps going, then foreclosure. And once a judge gets involved, the court enforces it, and jail isn't the only risk. In this same community, another homeowner, she didn't go to jail, but she almost lost her house. This one is just as shocking. A homeowner faced foreclosure after repeated violation and unpaid dues. What started at a few $1,000s in fees grew into more than $12,000 once attorney costs and penalties were added. Let's listen.
Cruz Munoz says the Creekview HOA, where she owns a home, has lots of rules about everything from putting away trash cans to maintaining lawns.
This is some tall grass there.
Yes.
The HOA board hired a property manager, Ron Trowbridge of the Trowbridge Company, and a law firm, Tricia and Ross, to implement 67 pages of covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Neighbors say Trowbridge aggressively enforced those rules.
He would ride through here really slow in his truck. He had his clipboard on his lap, and if he was going to write you up, he'll stop right there in front of your house.
We got a violation on a Sunday for having a toy wagon outside.
Imagine paying your mortgage every month, but still losing your home, not to the bank, but to your HOA. That's exactly what almost happened here.
Shauna says she was involved in a years-long battle with Trowbridge over her home's exterior paint.
And you painted this house how many times?
3 times since 2015.
Wow, I don't think anybody around
Nobody
here.
paints their house that many times.
Shauna says it started shortly after she moved in.
I got a first notification that the side of my house had some fading, and all it said was, I needed to touch up the faded spots. So I did.
Here's video of her son, a contractor, painting her home. Shauna says she sent Trowbridge proof she repainted and thought her issue was resolved.
And then maybe 7 months later, I get served.
She got notice of a lawsuit which said, quote, the home appears to have been partially painted. However, the painting of the home was not ever completed. The paint is badly faded on the sides and rear.
I'm calling, nobody returns my call. I email. Probably the 4th email in, I got somebody that replied back and said, oh, we see that you painted the house, but you need to touch up some more things on the driveway.
Shauna says she repainted the rest of the house and notified Trowbridge.
Some more months went by, I didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden I start getting all these letters in the mail that say, hey, let us help you with your foreclosure. And I'm like, what foreclosure?
And here's the kicker. Foreclosure proceedings were already scheduled over paying issues and unpaid dues. That's not just stressful, it's terrifying.
Call my bank, they're like, nope, we don't have anything. And I'm like, what is it? Can't possibly understand. Find out it's the HOA. They had put a lien on my house.
And you didn't know?
I didn't know anything about it.
She emailed Trowbridge and he responded, quote, we know nothing of a message or foreclosure. A lawsuit has been filed against you by the HOA. You should respond as instructed in the lawsuit. Your communication regarding this matter must be with the attorney, not the HOA office. The foreclosure action was for the HOA's attorney's bills.
You're in a situation where they're trying to take your house over legal fees.
Right. Well, they were going to put a lien on it.
And if you didn't respond, that could eventually end up at the courthouse steps, right?
Oh, at the courthouse steps. And then they would, every time they go down to do something, they just add another fee on it.
This proves something every homeowner needs to understand. Sometimes it's not your mortgage that puts your house at risk, it's your HOA. So, why does this happen? Because when you're buying into an HOA, you're not just buying that house, you're agreeing to their rules, and those rules have power. Here's how it usually plays out. You break the rules, maybe your lawn, paint, or parking, you get a fine. If you don't pay, late fees and attorney costs pile up. That can turn into a lien on your home. And if it ends up in court, judges almost always side with the HOA because legally you signed up for it when you bought the home. And that's when it's no longer about grass or paint, you're obeying a court order. And once it gets to that stage, homeowners often lose control. So, how do you protect yourself? Here are 7 practical steps that can help save you from an HOA nightmare. First, read the rules before you buy. Don't just fall in love with the house. Ask for the HOA documents and really read through them. Some communities are stricter than others, and you want to know ahead of time that you're okay with the rules before you sign. Budget a little bit beyond your monthly dues. HOA fees aren't the whole story. Fines, penalties, attorney fees can all stack up very quickly, especially if there's a dispute. You might think you're paying $200 a month, but one problem can turn into thousands of unexpected costs. Always set aside a little extra for the what ifs. Next is to keep records. Treat every interaction with your HOA like it could end up in court. Save every letter, every email, and make sure you take photos of every repair and maintenance to prove you made changes. And one thing I always say in my own home, get things in writing. If my husband's on the phone talking to the HOA, I always tell him to follow up in an email right after. That way, we have proof of what was said. Respond quickly. One of the biggest mistakes homeowners make is ignoring HOA letters. They don't just go away. Even if you can't fix the issue right away, at least send a reply. A simple "I got your letter, I'm working on it" shows a little bit of effort and can sometimes stop things from escalating. Now, if you're buying or selling, make sure you work with a realtor who knows the HOAs. They can tell you which neighborhoods are more relaxed and which ones are more strict. Having that insight before you buy or sell makes a huge difference. Know when you need to get an attorney. If things start moving towards court or foreclosure, do not handle it alone. Unless, of course, you're an attorney. But if you're not, like the 90% of us, you need to get an attorney that can protect your rights and guide you through the process. Next is to research alternatives. Now, this is for you, the ones who are thinking about moving to a different location, or you just want to sell or buy something else. Not every buyer wants to deal with HOA rules, and that's okay. There are non-HOA communities out there. You just need to know where to look and the best way to check before you buy. Not every HOA is bad. Some really do keep the community looking nice and protect property values. But when things go wrong, they can go wrong very fast. So let me ask you, would you live in an HOA community? Drop your answers in the comments. And if you're looking to sell or buy here in Florida, go ahead and reach out. I would love to help. Also, let me know if you guys would be interested in me making a video on how to find homes in no HOA and the best way to check before you buy. At the end of the day, your home should bring you peace, not fear or stress. Isaiah 32:18 says, "My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest." And that's what every homeowner really wants, peace and security. And that's why it's so important to make wise choices up front and understand the rules that comes with your community to protect not just your house, but also your peace of mind and your family's well-being. So, jailed over grass, foreclosed over paint. It sounds unbelievable, but it's real. So, have you ever had an HOA horror story? Share it in the comments. Let's hear it. And if you're planning on selling in an HOA community, reach out. I'll be happy to help. Don't forget to subscribe because next week we're diving into another big story you won't want to miss. Thank you for watching. Be blessed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.